so far.
Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Andy, it's the summer now, officially. We've now that Roland Garros,
not meteorologically,
no, but just in terms of like where we stand in the in the sports
sporting
calendar.
Yeah.
This is we're entering the doldrums, so to speak.
Would it be fair to say we're not quite? This is like the lead up in the way that, and we'll go right to a tennis reference, in a way that some of these grass court tournaments are like the lead up to Wimbledon. June is like the lead up to July. July into early August is the real doldrums. There's no, maybe the second half of June is really when it kicks in. Because you lose the NBA, you lose the NHL, and it's like, buddy, if you ain't betting baseball,
you ain't.
I don't know. Like, you're just pissing money away on God knows what. We're at international. We don't have a World Cup. We don't have Euros. We don't have an Olympics. You're just pissing. Like, are you deciding to piss away money on the Women's World Cup? Which, yes, Andy, I am.
Euro. Euro. Women's Euro.
Women's Euro.
Soccer.
Women's Euro.
Women's Euro soccer.
Yeah,
for sure. Oh, I'm very excited. I've already started doing my prep for that, actually.
We only have a couple weeks left of USFL, for Christ's sakes, guys.
I know.
We have watched like 4 minutes of that. It's horrible.
We are rapidly running out of things to bet on. And it's tough because the way that the French Open works is a fire hose of things to bet on. And then it slowly becomes less and less and less. Same with the NBA playoffs. We had playoffs 2, 3, 4 games a day. Now one every 3 days. And it's a tough adjustment.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead. How much college baseball am I betting?
No, that too. Jesus fuck. I'm addicted to that.
Yeah.
It's the best. I love having action and yes, I probably should call an 800 number, but I feel like I do a good enough job of keeping my betting in check. And if it's DGen, it's small amounts anyway. But the NBA finals.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago did they switch to giving them a fucking week between every fucking game? Like 9 days between travel games. Like I felt like it didn't used to be this many days.
Yeah. Definitely the LeBron versus the Warriors era had some pretty big gaps.
Okay.
I don't remember like this. The one year that I remember being the most egregious was the year that you knew it was going to be a Warriors sweep and that it still took like a month to get the thing done. Let's talk a little bit about the state of things. Making it especially tough not to DGen. The accounts were flush thanks to one Iga Swiatek coming home. It's coming home. Roland Garros.
It's coming home.
And
it's coming.
Yeah, that was quite a run by her. I'm annoyed she didn't win without dropping a set. She probably shouldn't have lost.
All right. So I wanted to bitch you out a little about that tennis set. No, I did, and I almost wrote something to you, like calling you a little baby about that. but I thought, and whenever I'm, this is a good tip for anyone who does even at work, if it's Slack, Discord, your work chat, like think about what you're writing quick. It was a knee-jerk reaction because all right, so Drew complained after winning gobs of money on Iga. He complained about not getting his prop home where she didn't drop a set. And I was gonna call him just a baby back bitch about this.
She was a 5-2.
The more I thought about it, I'm like, fuck, he has a point. She shouldn't have dropped a set. She shouldn't have dropped a set. Like, no. I can't even call him out. I'm like, I'm gonna let him have it because he's right. You're fucking right. She shouldn't have dropped a damn set. And the best part was I wasn't even like nervous.
No,
I had a goofy. I think it was. I don't keep much in there. I moved some money over there once I saw they had some college baseball lines that weren't bad, but I don't keep much in my bet any sport account because it sucks compared to what Five Dimes used to be.
Oh yeah.
But I will say I bet an amount of money that was the amount of money I had in that account on her to win that match after she dropped the first set. So I'm just kidding. I'm going to add to her future. It was still like
you caught a little luck because I thought Schwinn pulled a hammy, but it was still the right side. Obviously, Iga she was laser focused after that, and honestly, she was carrying a little bit of pressure. I think having really kind of carrying the unbeaten, having dropped the set streak into the Roland Garros and just in general the match winning streak. I think she was carrying a little bit of pressure. What do you think about this? The Jace Casey? Why did you pull that up?
I wanted to pull this up because of something you said before the podcast. Jace Casey delayed by rain, slow track, under 10. I'm not sure. I'm not a great baseball handicapper. If somebody has an answer for Leg Show, by all means answer him. I did want to bring up the fact that you're sweating the Grand Salami. And that bet has canceled, Drew. The Cleveland game has been delayed or postponed.
It's dead.
Yeah, so your salami bet, like that's the thing. Over. You can't bet the Grand Salami in April.
No.
It gets graded like 2 days in that whole month.
Yeah.
Because there's always a rain out.
So. Always. Okay. I didn't even see that the Texas Cleveland game got canceled. Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah. So that one is canceled. Grand Salami bets are off. But anyway, I wanted to bring that up for no reason other than to just talk about that. Because I've had a little trouble with that too. And maybe that's a little bit of an existential crisis question. Not existential crisis. Psychological, not full cognitive bias like we've got into some of these podcasts with, but just looking back at my tracker, let's just go the last 4.5 weeks. And again, this isn't Andy being like, look at me, I'm very smart, because I lose a lot of money betting sometimes. I have horrible days. But you guys gave me Tyler Hero. That was right at the beginning of May. That cashed.
Yep.
Somewhere in there. Max Homa, 45-1. Sam Burns, 30-1.
Nice.
And now all the Iga stuff. Like, it's great. It's so fun winning. It's fun when, again, like Tyler Hero, when your networking pays off and people give you a good bet and it pays off after sitting in the account for 10 goddamn months. It's nice.
Yeah, I bet that in October.
When you get ahead of the curve on something like the Barty retirement, you get a nice number and you watch her truck through a tournament. Yeah. It's nice when you do your homework and actually physically handicap a sport like golf. You come up with a couple winners. It's not only money. That's a nice boost to your confidence, your ego, your process. Gives you a little bit of confirmation bias, which helps.
For sure.
But it becomes a problem when people start posting college baseball totals in chats. Like, do you feel like you're much looser with the DGen betting, where it's like, when an account is flush, especially when it's post up counts like this, or even credit accounts, like when you have a $2,000 max on a credit account and it's sitting at 3x that for your balance, you're like, man, I could lose a lot before I have to pay this guy down. Like that's just found. You
kind of feel like you kind of feel like you ought to in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know if there's a cure. I don't know if this is going anywhere. I'm not sure there's a cure for that. I think the cure for that is
responsible gambling is an important thing to get to. And it's even as many years as we've been doing this, I still suffer from some degening. And yeah, I mean, firing F1 trucks, firing what else? I fired some crazy shit in the last like 72 hours. MMA, boxing stuff that I have I'm not, when I'm like
that boxing play
when I'm
west side.
Yeah, when I'm aggressively originating, it's one thing. When I'm not originating, but I'm like desperately, not desperately, but just like interested in some juice. Firing on all kinds of crazy stuff.
And that's where it ties into the June and July thing. I think it's a bad combination for me where it's like, hey, I've won some bigger bets. Tailing a few people in baseball has gone okay, where I've had positive weeks over and over. The combination of that combined with there's not much for me to originate outside of just getting my golf ready each day. Yeah, that turns into a problem. I think the biggest and there is no solution. Like if you're just bound to be a problem gambler, I guess I'm sorry. Hopefully you can find some help, Phil Mickelson. But like, I think the biggest, I know he shouldn't. He actually did get help.
He is a problem.
And I mean, good for him too. But I think the biggest thing that I've done is I've started to do like audits at the end of the month.
Okay.
I was showing this to Dan, producer Dan, because it's like I listed the amount of different markets I entered last month, and it's like, man, like I don't even remember betting AFL. Or, just a few things like that. It's like, what does multi mean? That was actually like the John Rahm ticket I combined with some other stuff. But and remember somebody posted that Croatian basketball in the NBA chat one time. It's like, man, Andy, you don't have to tail everything, do you? Like, I definitely bet Croatian basketball in there. So I split it out by like how much did I win or lose on each one of those things. And it's like, all right, here's some things I could maybe cut out. And it's a small sample of this, that, but even if it's something you won on, it's like, man, are these things I really need to be betting each month?
Yeah, well, it's a very fair point. And realistically, we have such a strong network of very talented people who are originating that it doesn't feel like a net long-term losing proposition to just be randomly tailing, especially because like when somebody has a tip on the smaller market stuff or something that it feels a little random, like, God damn it, those hit. Those hit all the fucking time, it feels like. So I don't really mind. But ultimately, like, the problem is, I mean, I've pivoted and I've got my grass handicap going on right now for tennis, so that should help me avoid dumping on College World Series nonsense. College World Series,
what do you think
like, that stuff has been all over the place.
It's been up and down. What do you think you lost the most? What do you think you did the worst on last month?
NBA.
Really?
Yeah, because of my son's shit.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you wanted to toss out like Calcutta.
Golf
was tough.
Golf was bad. PGA Championship, I got hosed.
Mine was horses.
Oh, horses was not good either. Yeah.
And it was so, and again, I used some Excel and I just did some V lookup, like, hey, look up if it says horses in the line, and look up if it says everything else. Like, horses were the worst, and it was 3x the next worst thing. Like, that was my lesson. I think I took from May. I wrote down some lessons in my dream journal. I said, Andy, you didn't have to bet every horse matchup you found.
Yeah, so I put my NBA futures losing tickets in the month of May, along with bad PGA, along with the bad Derby, and I had my worst month of the year by a lot in May. Ultimately, even though game by game in the NBA playoffs, I'm at like 65-ish, which seems impossible, but at an absolutely absurd number game by game betting. But I dumped a ton on the Suns. The month of April though was one of my best months ever as a bettor. Kansas coming home in the Final Four was huge, combined with NFL draft, which was just absurd.
I don't even want to like count April.
Yeah, April was absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, no, June's off to a pretty good start.
I think June, it's not going to be NFL draft worthy, but I think a lot of people who are doing the work and paying attention have some good chances to pad the bankrolls with some NBA draft. I feel like that's going to be like my last gasp before I just almost shut it down. And it's just like, I'm betting golf, I'm betting a little tennis in a few spots, and I'm getting ready for NFL.
Yeah, that's fair.
Does work out that way.
Let's talk a little bit about tennis since we're here. Rafa Nadal, where have we heard that before? 14 times. This guy has won this tournament now. This was his least probable in a long time. He was third choice after Djokovic and Alcaraz. Didn't strongly disagree with that.
It's funny how it's like, oh man, it was so much and relative to his outright prices before other, French Opens, yes, but it's funny, like, oh man, this was like such a reach for him comparatively. Yeah, it was, but it's still like, what was he like? He's like 3.5 to 1, or what was his
right,
biggest? Like,
no, you
the
could have
4?
gotten some 6 to 1s.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
didn't know.
No,
He got that.
and honestly, I looked at it and thought hard about it to cover my other outrights, but I didn't bet it because after Rome, I was not convinced he for sure was
Nobody
going to play.
was. Yeah.
I wasn't like I would have been. I was like maybe it's like 70% that he actually comes and plays. He won the title in the quarterfinals on whatever day that was. You went to see the movie. That was the final ultimately. Zverev getting hurt, not really. Zverev beating himself. Zverev was always going to beat himself. I think we know that. Beside getting hurt, and then Rude was so not ready for that moment.
I was gonna say when he got there, it was a bit of a rough awakening for him.
He owned it after the fact too. If you heard or saw or read any of his quotes, he was basically like, I wasn't nervous until I like walked into the arena and saw all the fans and all of the Spanish flags and all of the fanfare. It was like, oh my God, I'm going to play Rafa Nadal for the French Open final. And then he proceeded to not show up effectively, particularly at the end of that match. That whole third set was just rough for the kid. Hope that doesn't do permanent damage, but he was doing a lot of staring at his dad like, what do I do, Dad? And that's not great for an adult man who's on tour in a final tennis match. So going back to Nadal though, I don't think we even saw him at like this version of Nadal. He loses to last year's in straights. This version of Nadal loses to peak 2017, 2018 Nadal. He loses like 6-3, 6-2, 6-1. I mean, it's ugly lopsided. Like he's 80, maybe 85% on a good day. The day he beat Djokovic, he was 85% of the player that we know, I think. He just he only had to beat one guy to win this title, and he did it. And he did it with an approach that was exactly tactically correct and executed really well. He happened to put Djokovic in a place where Djokovic had to use all his adrenaline to get back to the match, and then the rest was history. But it was pretty. This was a pretty surprising turn for him, and I'm not inclined to believe he is really willing to retire at all. I think he probably just takes the rest of the year off and comes back for maybe the U.S. Open, but almost certainly for the Aussie Open. I think he still intends to play for slams in 2023. Do you have a read on the situation, and do you even believe anything you hear from him anymore? I mean, he was making a lot more out of what was going on really than ultimately impacted him. I mean, the guy played 3-hour tennis matches.
Fine. Yeah, he just won. He just won the French Open. He's fine. Like, it's so silly. It's not like, they didn't Kellen Winslow carry him off at the end of it. He was fine. Like he's gonna skip a lot. He's gonna play what he wants to play, and it'll be interesting to see which. I don't know if he plays both majors. He might just, if he really is banged up, maybe he just doesn't play grass. I mean, we saw that a few years ago. Remember when Rafa just skipped clay or Rafa skipped grass and Roger skipped clay?
Yes.
Like that's a thing. Like I don't blame him there, but he's fine. I think you might have to put up with a couple more years of him.
That sounds reasonable. You want to go down the current odds real quick and just give you a quick update on everyone's grass? Because this is a big funny transition. Going from clay to grass is one of the most abrupt within a sport. This is one of the most abrupt pivots that happens ever, and it happens during on the fly here. Grass, extremely different game. Tennis on grass, extremely different than clay. Even though you probably know this, Andy, but tennis was effectively invented on grass.
That's the only reason they invented the lawnmower, guys. They had to cut it short to go to play the tennis.
Yes,
the lawn tennis.
The All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club, where in 1870-ish, Lord George, blah blah blah,
Feather
solidified the
bottom.
rules. Yeah,
Penny farthing.
I don't think they really ever they never ever kind of came to a clear answer as to why the scoring is the way that it is, but it goes back to the All England
I think they just had a
tennis
lot
in
of gin in
1870s.
them. Like they just couldn't do math. I mean, a lot of people didn't go past the primary school back then. So I think they're just horse shit with numbers. It worked out. It's fine. But yes, it is a hard stop. And it's two completely different kinds of, I mean, I don't know. Like, are there, maybe I'm just showing my ignorance here. There are hard courts that are faster than grass, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not like the fat. Like I'm almost sure. I don't know why I had that mixed up in my head, but it's still very fast, and it can play extremely quick. And
well, there's two factors.
You're going from slow to fast, and then you're going from being able to slide to if you do that, you're gonna rip your knee up.
Yeah, right. And also, like, it's fast, but also the ball does not come up as high because
the bounce, the spin, everything's
is
different.
The spin is all of it is different. It's basically a totally different game. You more or less need to be a grass specialist at this point because the grass season is so short. A lot of the best players just don't have a ton of reps on grass, frankly, including your number 2 choice right now for Wimbledon, Carlos Alcaraz. Alcaraz has played 2 grass matches as a professional. Yeah. They were at Wimbledon last year. He defeated Yasutaka Uchiyama in 5. It took him 5 sets to get by Uchiyama. And then he promptly lost to Daniil Medvedev in straights. If you go back to his junior career, I think he was like 5-2 on grass as a junior. Never really competed at Wimbledon juniors. Never really did anything of note. He was just an average grass player. But anyway, all of Alcaraz's junior career has to pretty much be thrown out because he completely transformed his body in the last 2 years, notably in the last 6 months. And so he is a total unknown quantity. I don't think he can be realistically considered the second choice here at all. Plus 725 is a wildly poor bet. And I think you just got to wait and see how he adjusts to the grass in general, because it's a very different type of game. His most effective shot is the drop shot. Does not work as well on grass because it's not as easy to hit. Maybe he'll find a way, but I don't think Alcaraz can realistically be considered a contender. Nadal, forget about Nadal. Nadal 8-1 right now, bookmaker. That's bananas. He should be 800 to 1.
Especially if it's not a refund if he doesn't play. Some of these are like all runners go. Like
yeah.
If he pulls out, you just
all bets are action. This is all bets are action. If you bet on Nadal at 8-1, get your head checked.
Get some help.
Berrettini is your third choice. We haven't seen Berrettini play in freaking forever. Guy
while.
had ab surgery after his poor start to the season.
You know where my bet? You know where my money's going? And I haven't even looked at odds yet.
Well, I'm just going to go down the list. Berrettini, way out of form. Tsitsipas, way out of form.
No.
Oh, by the way, Tsitsipas, ever since they changed the rules about how long you can go to the bathroom, has not been as good a player because he's not getting his dad's coaching via text message anymore, I think is a fair assumption.
I think they were using WhatsApp, actually.
Okay.
Well, it's encrypted.
It's encrypted, right?
Yeah.
Tsitsipas, forget about it. Felix Auger-Aliassime.
I'll make a face when you get to my guy.
Felix, prove it first. Cilic down to 20 to 1. Not getting there. Not going Cilic. What are you thinking? You're hot on Cilic?
Post draw. We'll see.
Post draw.
He's on the short list.
Okay. How about Nick Kyrgios? 22 to 1. Laughable?
Yes.
How about Andy Murray? 50 to 1. Laughable?
Is this doubles? Is that with Jamie?
No. I mean, Murray probably makes a little bit of a run here. He's played well on grass, but he lost to Dennis Kudla. So there's that for you. Zverev 25 to 1 probably doesn't play. Hubie Hurkacz 25 to 1. Interest you? Nah.
More of a U.S. Open play.
Yeah. Denis Shapovalov 25 to 1.
I wish that number were bigger. I don't hate him, but the form's not there either.
No. Here's a funny one for you. You ready for this? You can go bet on Roger Federer at 25 to 1.
Does he still play?
Huh? He's not in the fucking. He's not on the list.
I know.
He's not playing. So that why in the world is he listed? They're just gonna. That's an idiot tax.
If you parlay Nadal and Federer, it's the same bet as me. Bet on either of them. This is like a Francesca segment. I know. That's funny.
Sinner 65-1. Nope. Korda 40-1. Yuck. Cam Norrie 40-1. Yuck. Dimitrov 40-1. Yuck. Taylor Fritz 50-1. Yuck. Dan Evans 150-1. Isner 70-1.
You know who
Riley
looked good
Opelka.
outside of the Rafa match?
Riley Opelka 100-1. Any interest?
No.
Who looked good outside of the Rafa match?
The Croatian. Serbian, excuse me. Sorry.
Oh. Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, he looked all right.
He's minus 138, and I think that's a fair price. Realistically, he should probably be minus 200, but crazy things can happen. So men's really not. No one haven't mentioned realistically stands a chance. This is about as lopsided as Iga was on the French, maybe more. I don't know. What do you think of the women's side? Give me your gut reaction to the women's draw or the women's field.
It's not as strong of a surface for her, but who's playing anywhere near her level / who's a grass specialist? I don't know. Like, there's somebody you're like excited about getting down on the women's side. I think that's wait for draw and see if you can come up with something there.
No, there's a name. There's a name.
How does Jabeur play?
There's two names
on grass.
Aha! Her grass elo by my numbers, number 2 in the world after Ash Barty, who is no longer.
Yeah, she retired. You can't have her in there.
But she's the number 2 grass player on the world in terms of quality. Definitely a more impressive grass player than Iga. Beat Iga head-to-head at Wimbledon last year on grass, and I thought convincingly. Ons Jabeur very much in the mix, and Angelique Kerber, your gal. Germany's Angelique Kerber. Why are you making a face? She acquitted herself better at the French Open this year than she normally does. She's usually one and done. She made it to the 3rd round this year, and I thought she played pretty decently. She won a title on clay going into Roland Garros, right? Maybe she made a final, but I think she won a title in like Strasbourg.
Well, I like this better. I don't know if Kerber has. Kerber's like that's a really nice quarter price. Kerber to win her quarter if she has a good draw, yes, but she doesn't have like the.
She's great on grass.
Yeah, but she still just doesn't have the take it over the top and beat our girl. So, you know who does? A crazy-eyed Pinko. Like if thick Pinko gets her red line on, she beats everybody. She probably beats half the men's draw.
Thick Penko is 33-1 right now. Angelique Kerber 25-1. Owns down to 18-1. Most of my owns money went in at plus over at a better than 30. And just the fact that again owns won Madrid. She made a deep run in Rome, and that was all on a surface that was far and away not her best. But you know what's important about winning those tournaments, Andy? Ranking points. She is now a top 4 player on top of a quarterfinal. Yeah, on top of a quarterfinal appearance last year, she is absolutely going to have. She'll be on basically, I think she'll be on the opposite side of the draw from Iga, which is what you need in order to get to the final. Not interested in Raducanu. Laughable price at plus 120, at plus 12-1. Laughable price at Osaka, 12-1. Halep 12-1 is laughable. Coco Gauff 12-1 is laughable. Realistically, I think there are, the field is closer to Iga on grass than at Roland Garros by a lot. And I could live to regret that statement if Iga could just carries this form and just lighting the world on fire.
Yeah, what if she actually gets like she ended up, it was a tough draw, it just didn't work out that way.
For who?
For Iga. It was the draw hashed out not tough with the upsets, but like she could have had a tougher path. What if she actually gets an easy draw?
That's a good point. No, that's a good point.
I think
in general the
like
field
getting on to like 30, whatever, that's fair. Fair play.
A junk baller on clay stands 0.0 chance of defeating Iga. A junk baller on grass can be a difficult out. And there's a lot of junk ballers on tour right now. You want to guess how many? I mean, Iga won juniors on grass. She is on record as she lost the semifinals at Roland Garros as a junior to Kate McNally, who went on to lose to Coco Gauff, by the way, before becoming doubles partners with Coco Gauff, but not this year, where Jessica Pegula and Coco Gauff were doubles partners in a losing effort on clay. Coco Gauff was the runner-up in both singles and doubles at Roland Garros this year. Iga lost the juniors at a semifinal level, was so angry that she went into Wimbledon with her hair on fire and won that juniors title at Wimbledon on grass. That was her only true success stories to be told on grass. You want to guess how many matches she has on grass as a pro?
Oh, 11.
12. Good guess, man.
Close.
She is 7-5 on grass as a pro, with losses to Ostapenko, Sam Stosur, Golubic, Kasatkina has beaten her, and Ons Jabeur, as previously mentioned. Those are the 5 women that have taken her down on grass in her career. Her wins on grass are nothing to write home about. She has beaten the likes of Sue Shea, Zvonareva, Begu, Watson.
Versus her.
Who?
On grass. If they could prove she'd been training during her retirement, Yulia Gorgeous.
Ooh,
big.
Is she in the? She in the field?
She's been retired for like a couple
been out
years.
for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, just big serve. I don't know. That's what I'd want. Somebody who could just pepper from behind the.
There's a bunch of rando grass specialists. There always are.
Yeah.
I'm just not feeling it from Muguruza.
I'm not excited for Wimbledon at all.
Or any of these.
I don't know. Like the French Open's still my favorite.
No, dude, get your Ons tickets and get excited. You could still find 30-ish to 1 in some places.
I'll hunt, but I'm not betting 18. I'll hunt around. I will hunt around. I know some places that have some
bad numbers.
Weird lagging lines. But for the most part, prices have been better about just copying each other on that, it feels like. So
okay. Well, Ons Jabeur is going to win a couple grass titles on our way to a Wimbledon deep run. So you're going to miss the best of the price if you don't get involved soon. That's my general opinion. It's on. We're on to on season. It's on season.
I forgot to shop for Celtics today. I was going to bet the Celtics to win the series.
Ooh,
that price is weird. Probably. I don't give a shit. All pays the same. You just pay a little on the back end.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. So yeah, no, I think Wimbledon, and I guess really the question is for Iga, like the sky's the limit at this point. She should be the massive favorite for the US Open as well. You agree with that?
Yeah.
What stops her from winning 2 more slams this year?
Probably injury.
Okay. You think fatigue is an issue at all for her for the US Open?
No, I think if she does just rip through Wimbledon, like she knows how special of a year this could be, and I would absolutely be taking a couple weeks off my calendar on the way up to Flushing.
What are you gonna skip, Cincy or Canada?
I'd skip Cincinnati.
Yeah, probably.
Way rather go to the Rogers.
Yeah. Coupe Roger. Is the women's side in Montreal this year or Toronto?
Never can keep track of that. Okay. I've never know.
Okay.
My goodness, there's a lot of tennis on. Heritage has a lot of tennis.
Nice. I love that.
Nobody can spell Sertakenbosch though. This one just doesn't. this one just took the S off.
They gave up on the S.
Yeah, they just took the. It just says Hertogenbosch.
Ertogenbosch. How do you pronounce it, Andy?
Sertakenbosch.
Sertakenbosch.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I watched videos one time from the fucking Netherlands to get this down for an episode of Ball Boys a long time ago. But yeah, women are in Toronto. Signed Collectibles would know. He's a big tennis guy. So
okay,
it sucks. Montreal's better. I mean, it's a better venue, but Montreal's a cooler city.
Yeah. Okay. You got any dark horses you're watching? Noops tip you on to any good dark horses?
I think we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. As far as it's probably a look at the draw, find somebody. Me quarter prices for Andy again.
Well, you gave me a good opportunity to pivot to basketball, as you were mentioning. You didn't bet the Celtics yet. What's the hesitation for you? Do you feel like the Warriors?
Oh no, I
might be
forgot.
better?
No, I just forgot. I just got busy.
Okay.
Like after we talked this morning.
What are some of your takeaways from 2 games so far?
The third quarters have been tough on our rookie head coach coming out of the break. It is, people, including the person I'm talking to right now, have shit all over a certain Steve Kerr. And he's not that good of a coach because look at all the talent he had. And, anybody could take Curry and Durant. That's probably true. Christ. You could pick anyone who's coached in the last, as an NBA head coach in the last 5 years, give them that team and probably, stumble their way into a title or two. But I still believe there's something to their halftime adjustments because you can't have it's been a good team. It's been a great team at times. You can't have this third quarter Warriors thing be a thing this long without being able to do something at halftime. And especially like if assholes like us know about it, the other coaches know, like, hey, people kind of get barraged in the third quarter. It just keeps happening. Like the obviously the Celtics came through with a third quarter of their own, disguised as the fourth quarter in game one, but it's hard to do that a lot. So, I don't know. Like that would be something I'd be focused on if I was a Celtics head coach whose name is escaping me right now. It's a goofy name too. It's not like it's not like Mike Smith, like the goalie here. He has such a nice plain name. Ime Udoka. Did I get that?
Ime Udoka.
Ime Udoka. There we go. Ime. That's a nice name, actually.
Yeah.
I'd work on that. Otherwise, the Celtics are a better team. But I think it still goes 7, though.
Okay.
So I'm hesitant to think that there's a chance they drop 2 in Boston, though. So I'd say I have a better than 50% chance of them. Like I should take the future before game 3. Like them dropping a game in Boston would not be like, oh my God, I can't believe they dropped a game in Boston. But I still think it's probably like a 35-40% chance that happens at all between the 2 games. And so I'm fine just, losing some equity in case they slip up in game 3 and I could have got a better future price. I'm just going to take the future at like -110.
Okay. Well, Celtics need to come up with a key adjustment. Obviously, if they come out and play the way they played at the second half of game 2, it is going to be a very, very tough hole to dig themselves out of. I think they need to deploy some adjustments in game 3. They were able to do that in every series we've seen so far, especially losing game 1 at home to the Bucks. They came up with some great adjustments. Losing game 5 at home to the Bucks, they came up with some great adjustments. Similarly, losing game 1 on the road to the Heat, they came out with their hair on fire in game 2. So hopefully this is a vintage Cuss Christ and they win game 3, because a game 3 loss and I'm hitting the panic button. There are a lot of things about the Celtics that I don't love. They are the better team, though. I'm pretty sure of that. But sometimes the better team in a close-ish series loses, and that that would suck. So, yeah, I think Celtics are bettable in game 3. I think Celtics series is still bettable, and I think Celtics still can get this done relatively straightforward fashion, barring an injury at this point. Klay Thompson, really not a factor. Jordan Poole is only a front runner. Draymond Green, my God, I was absolutely just out of my mind annoyed by him yesterday. He was such a Bush League deal, and I get it. You're trying to win a title. You'll do whatever it takes. Some of that nonsense, some of the histrionics from Green yesterday were just awful. And I would like to see that reined in, but by the refs, but who the hell knows? Yeah, I think it's going to be a rough week here for us holding Celtics tickets, just in terms of the stress, because they don't seem to be able to do it easy, at least against a player as good as Curry, who's in rare air right now and is in absolute peak form. So good for them, and good for anyone who wants to be entertained by the series, I guess.
That's where I stand. Like, it was just and you said it, Curry rare air. Like, Curry can will this series to go, even if they aren't playing, as good as they could, and they are the worst team most likely. Like, Curry can will this to 6 or 7 games. He's got enough there. So that's fun.
Let's move on a little bit, and Andy, give me your take on Live Golf, which has not really been a thing since we've done a podcast. They announced on Tuesday of last week, all of the guys. DJ was the surprise. And then today I got a push alert from like some news organization that was like, Phil Mickelson's going to Live Golf. And I was like, this is worthy of a freaking push alert. Okay. But here we are. Mickelson's now team Barbarians. And honestly, I'm struggling to find any interest in this. Where are you at with Live Golf?
I've already moved on to Laugh and Love. It's I don't know. It's like a non-starter for me because the thing is, well, yeah, and like, all right, so yeah, they're probably really bad dudes that are financing this, but I mean, there's a lot of oil money that's going into a lot of organizations.
Do you get, like, they're doing it very surreptitiously, though? It's like, we're just supposed to know that they're behind it, but like they're doing it because they're trying to somehow improve their reputation or something. Like, do you get the like the high level consulting math going on here at all?
I don't, and that's where I'm at. So it's like, the main sticking point is there's probably a bit of a moral dilemma because some of that money's coming from some pretty horrid people when it comes to maybe human rights violations when it comes down to things. And that is a thing. But if you're really mad about that, maybe don't watch the World Cup this winter either. And I'm going to watch the shit out of the World Cup. So I try to keep that stuff compartmentalized. There's nothing I can do personally to stop what some of the Saudis do behind closed doors or in front of open ones, or what these golfers are going to do with their life. So as a golf/sports podcaster, part-time bettor, I'm just going to bet on this shit and let things happen. And the other part of it is we don't know really what the PGA is going to do with this. They kind of have released some statements, but nothing real substantial. So I don't know what we're going to see when it comes to, FedEx points, or rather OWGR points, how everyone's going to handle this. No one knows shit right now. We got to wait for some things to hash out before we can really form opinions. Because what if it's just like, all right, it's DJ, it's Phil. They've won major tournaments. It's not even the PGA that runs these majors. It's the PGA of America. It's the R&D out in England. It's the Masters Committee. It's places like that if they're fine with it and they want these top talents, like, and again, Phil's a little over the hill, but Phil and Dustin Johnson are still draws. Like, it'll be interesting to see if they really thumb their nose at this or just like, I don't care. He has a green jacket. He's coming to the champions dinner. Both of them have jackets. Like,
yeah, right.
RNA. Thank you, Dan, so much. R&D did sound like something from the engineering department at a plastics factory. But that's what I want to know. Like, are they going to draw a hard line and say, like, suck it, you can't come to Augusta, guys, or guess what, you're banned from PGA events. So if there's not a LIV event that week, you can't come play this one. You can't play the Players. You can't play the Memorial. You can't play some of these events you like. Dustin Johnson, you can't play, some of the ones down in, let's say, even stuff down near South Carolina. Kevin Nas, Jax brings up in the chat, was a bit of a weird one. Like, he didn't have to sever ties with the PGA. He did. It's like breaking up with the girlfriend who doesn't know you're dating her. Just it was a weird, it was a weird release by Kevin Na. Like, I'm done with the PGA. Like, hey, you didn't have to say that. You didn't have to like burn that bridge, but you did, you psycho. That was awesome. So, and then a good question by the half, how much money was thrown at Tiger? They said it was a pretty sizable 9-figure number. That was the reports. I don't know if it was 750, but if they gave Phil Mickelson 2, I don't know. What's your guess? Mine's 5, $500 million.
Yeah, that's a good guess.
That's fair. And yeah, the Kevin Na thing, he did say, as Dan points out, to my fan, that was rough.
Yeah. Self-inflicted wound there.
I'm not opinionless, but I really, really need more. I'm like the Johnny Five on Short Circuit. I need more input. Like we don't know how this is all going to work out yet. For now, Christ on a bicycle. If that money was up front, I don't know what would stop anyone from turning that down if it wasn't just, I'm already rich enough and I think there's diminishing returns for the next 100 million and I'd rather not be associated with this. I guess probably it's the moral stuff, but that's a lot of semolinas.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. The fact that it's like still cloaked behind whatever Live Golf is means like the only people that really know it's a Saudi product are the people who are upset about it, right? Like I don't know that this is changing hearts and minds about the Saudi empire.
It's mostly golf writers.
Mostly golf writers, yeah.
The average golf fan, the golf bettors, they're excited there's something else they're going to bet on.
Yeah, and it may make everything a little weaker. Dustin Johnson's playing the U.S. Open though. Phil Mickelson's playing the U.S. Open though, right?
Yeah, that's where I'm like, we might get answers right away. He says he's playing the U.S. Open, and I guess there is somebody who can say he's not, I guess. So we'll find out soon as he comes back from London, and if they tell him to get the shit out of Boston, it'll be interesting. So yeah. I don't know.
We'll see.
I feel like I should hit the driving range. So one of these high parade rookies.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, this is life-changing money for a lot of people. So good for them, I guess.
I brought it up when we talked about this a couple weeks ago too. Like, I don't know. They did make the right, if they are shooting for this to work, I think they really made the right call by just not, they offered money to everybody that mattered. But the biggest part was they made the offers to the right rookies, the right young guys. If they're just going to poach the young talent, this might quickly be on par with the PGA in like 5 years. As some guys age out. And if all the young talent has the choice between like, Corn Ferry Q School Monday qualifiers, or how about a $5 million check instead of sleeping in your car? Like, yeah, I'm going to go play. And it's not like, when this first came out, because of the name, which is a bit of a misnomer, I guess. I don't know. Like, everyone's like, oh, it's going to be Saudi events, because there are Saudi events. There's the Abu Dhabi and the Saudi Arabia Opens or championships right away in the spring. Those are different. Those are DP World Tour events.
Yeah.
Like, these events none of them are in the fucking city they say they are. It's like, this is in Chicago. Yeah, it's in Chicago like Milwaukee's in Chicago. Like, they just name like the biggest city close to it for people who don't understand geography or they want to make a bigger splash. But I mean, a lot of these are stateside, and I don't know. It'll be something definitely to watch. I will be betting on it this week, 100%.
Okay.
I think there's going to be some stupid long shots because, again, like you talked about, maybe there's some ways to attack the Wimbledon because of the heavy favorites. Like Dustin Johnson, probably. Dan and I talked about this morning. It's like Dan asked, like, is he going to give a shit? I'm like, I don't know if he's given a shit for like the last 2 years.
I agree.
Like, after he got that Masters jacket, I've seen some real kind of lazy golf from DJ, and he's still good. That's wild. So like, I think there's some definite value on some long shots and some younger guys who can play good golf and probably can play. So
okay, interesting. What? Okay, very good, very good. So golf's going on this summer. We covered tennis,
and the RBC Canadians back.
Yeah.
As you pointed this out to Noops this morning, as you know from just the Twin series, the 76ers series. Some people aren't allowed in Canada still. There's still very strict stuff. So they had some problems with that. They just didn't have the event. Now it's back. We're pretty excited. Belmont Stakes.
You betting any?
Stakes,
Real, yeah. You gonna bet Belmont Stakes? Brett knows more about who's good than we do. I'm like, probably we should ask Brett.
When we had the Rich Strike withdrawal, somebody had some prices up for. It said Derby winner does not win Belmont or Preakness at a price that was less than it was going to be for the field in the Preakness or in the Belmont. So I have some of that. So I'm on the field for a little bit. I'm gonna have to dig in later this week and talk to some people. We'll see if I have something.
Yeah. The field itself is, and actually, Mo Donegal, Nest. Yikes! This is a bad field.
It's kind of a bad race.
My God.
It's just kind of a bad.
What happened?
You know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to just not even think about it. I'm going to go to the. God. You know where I'm going to see some good racing? I will be at Canterbury Downs on Sunday.
Oh, cool.
Well, I'm going to go watch. I'm going to go watch live racing instead.
Good day to go support your local track and bet small. I guess.
I won't bet there that much. I'll be betting Arlington or not Arlington anymore. I like to bet the other tracks, so I'm there.
This is rough, man.
What's that?
Just the Belmont field.
It's not great.
This is still a big, huge payday. Wonder why they didn't get more. They didn't get more action. Nest at 10-1 on the morning line is interesting to me. Nest is a very, very good horse. You know what? I would love to get somebody's opinion on who really follows horse racing carefully. Does the dosage index matter for the Belmont? It's something I always end up Googling for this race and then forget about it for 364 days. The dosage index is basically a measure of the pedigree of a horse in number form. And for whatever reason, there is sort of a Mendoza line where if your dosage index is not low enough, you can't realistically win the Belmont. And I don't know if that's voodoo or if that's real. But the bloodlines definitely matter when you go up to a distance of this magnitude. You ever heard of the dosage index?
Yeah, but I like to stay away from the top 20% because they're too inbred.
Okay.
To the point where
I need a dosage index under 3.
Yeah, I don't want too good of a pedigree. That means that they're cousins with themselves because you can track every single one of their.
A dosage index closer to 0 means the horse is bred for distance. It has
I don't know
nothing
what
to
it
do
is.
with.
I'm just
nothing to do with how.
I'm just inserting. I have no idea what you're talking about. So, I handicap at the local track based on really mostly the jockeys.
I think Nest can steal it. Honestly.
Dosage. Isn't it dosage?
No, it's dosage. Dosage is it's French word. It's same thing as the
dressage.
You know, when you're making champagne, what happens is
I don't make champagne.
When you're making champagne, they ferment it in the bottle, right? Which means that as the yeasts eat the sugar and make the carbonation and then die, it makes a shitload of sediment, right? You get a whole bunch of gross shit that you have to then riddle it and turn the bottles a little bit at a time so all the sediment comes down and coagulates in the neck of the bottle, right? And then once you've done all of that and all the dead yeast is down in the bottle neck, then you stick it in liquid nitrogen and it pops out like a plug, the little frozen dead sediment, right? And then there's a big gap in the wine all of a sudden. And what they do is they take some interesting wine, a dessert wine, sometimes a whiskey, sometimes it's something, a brandy, and they add that to top it off. and then put the cork in the cage on, and they call that the dosage. So that's the process of making champagne the classic way. Method champagne. Yes.
Barry says dosage, no, but Adref Tomlinson's are indicative.
Interesting. Dref. I'm assuming that just means daily racing form. Tomlinson's. We'll have to ask Barry who his horse is.
Barry, if you have a horse, by all means, tell me who to bet. I haven't bought champagne. I don't like champagne.
Crazy. You haven't had good champagne then.
No, I don't care for sparkles. Like it's fine, but I need something with body.
Nest's dosage index is 3.0, so she's on the line. All right. Well, you've been watching any USFL out of curiosity? You've been betting?
I have not. Every time it gets to the weekend, I have to go check and be like, oh shit, did my team win? Because I have 2 futures now sitting out on the Generals who are 7-1.
They look good. They're streaking too, right? They lost their first and then they won 7 straight.
Yeah, they lost to the team they're going to lose to in the finals, I think. But it was plus 750 and a plus 550. I should find the guy that DM'd me. He just basically said, hey, this this playoff system's fucking stupid. And he's like, don't you think there's probably some value on basically everybody? There was the favorite at that point. And then everybody in the West or South was like 2 or North probably for Jersey. It was like 2-1 or 1-2. And he's like, 2 of those teams are in the semifinals and they're all like plus 750. So I dug in a little and decided I like Jersey, even though everything about them screams that they would be a horrible NFL team. Even if all the NFL teams were at their level, like Christ, they just run the ball and they have a boring offense, but it just works. They have a high success rate. So whatever. I'll find the guy that alerted me to it. But yeah, thanks to him. I haven't won shit yet, but it was a very good bet.
Does USFL have legs?
No. Oh. I don't think people are watching it enough. Like, people don't care. It's not good football. It's pretty bad. Like, maybe something like the USFL.
Would you be more inclined to sit down and watch a Twins game or a USFL game on a Sunday?
Baseball. I'd watch. Who's the worst 2 teams in baseball? I'd watch that over USFL.
I think that game's going on right now between Arizona and Cincinnati.
That's true. No, so it's not good football. I think maybe where some of these leagues have a chance goes back to the beginning of our conversation where we said, like, hey, I won some money. I want a DJ whatever this weekend. But yeah, these spring leagues don't do good, to Patrick's point in the chat. But we've got PFF guys tweeting about it. We've got people betting on it. Maybe the legalized betting is going to help some of these upstart off. It depends on their finances. Like, 2 leagues ago, we just didn't have the finances for the AFL or the AAF, Alliance of American Football. And then the XFL was pandemicked, I believe.
Cool.
Like, they got fired up and it was bad timing. Sorry about your luck. But yeah, Dr. Eric does bet the hell out of the USFL. You're correct, AJ. Maybe that sort of exposure on social media helps it a little, but I don't know. We'll see. Might be around next year. Wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know. We had the Arena League for years. We had NFL Europe. Some of these leagues have been able to make it. They just need to be realistic with their finances. And they did some things different. They're not renting out, 10 different stadiums. Everything's in Birmingham. So maybe that helps, not making it such a grandiose project. Like, we're putting this in cities all over that's what PLL does. The podcast,
lacrosse.
This gal I follow, I can't think of her name, but she does like lacrosse podcast and does some reporting. I think she should like work for PLL now, but they just go. They're like a traveling band of minstrels. Like all the teams just go to the next city and they play all the games there that week. And then they go somewhere else. So like you can take in a lacrosse game when they come to your town. It's like the circus. I don't hate that for an upstart league. Like, talk to an arena, get a bulk deal. Hell, we'll take the place for the week. We're going to play like 10 lacrosse matches. And I think that's a good idea. Maybe the USFL should look into that. Like, guess what? It's like Monster Jam coming to the Metrodome. Like, oh, USFL's down, Dad. Tickets are like $4. Can we go?
I
Like,
love
yeah, Billy, let's go watch some horrible football because it's cheap. I'm not paying to take you to a Vikings game.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I'll give it a try or not. That was kind of a soft sell.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. I'm sorry. I just, in my heart of hearts, we're so close to the finish line. I feel like even if my future doesn't win, or at least get to the finals where I can hedge out,
Yeah.
man, I would love to see one of these futures just reach that point.
Yeah.
Because the AAF and the XFL hurt me so bad. So
I like it. All right. Well, some update here from Sign Collectibles, who's on it as usual. It's very about 6 to 8 weeks. That was predictable because that was a gross fucking injury. Not great for grass, honestly.
Circle.
So see you in Canada, probably. We don't see him again until hardcourt season in the US, probably.
Is he still qualified for
then.
the next gen finals? Is he too old?
No, he's too old now. A couple other notes here. People want wine recommendation, huh? Who had the first question? It was Lackman, right? Yeah. Love the Bonanza wine rec. What's next? Okay.
Oh my god.
What's that? You don't want
you can tell like this is gonna be like an 8-minute recommendation. I need you to make it too. you take this, you lean back, you take a deep breath, you grab your chin, and
so let's talk about the origins of wine for a second.
I almost bet on that. Well, it depends what you're eating.
No,
you know what it made me want when you were talking about Champers. You know what?
Yeah.
Drew's not giving the wine rec. I am.
Okay, go ahead.
I like a bit of an after dinner wine.
Okay.
And you talked about adding some brandy to the champagne.
Yeah, oh yeah. That's the dosage, yeah.
I like as a digestif more than an amaretto or anything along those lines. I like a very small glass of port.
Ooh.
And I have had some brandy portified ports in my day.
Nice.
And I really, really think, and again, I don't know if it's a summer thing. Like, it really feels like a hot meal on a cold day kind of thing. You've just had a big steak and potatoes, salad. You had maybe a nice wedge, and then you ate a big piece of meat. It feels like that. So that would be my winter rec. Summer rec. So you know what? Same country. Vino Verde. I'm still a Vino Verde guy. If I have to drink something white and light, it's got to be that because, man, the stuff my wife drinks is horrible.
Yeah, I'm not for the sweet. The sweet is not for me. In fact, among the champagnes, I like the brut, extra brut, which is the dry, which is the opposite of like a Moscato is super sweet.
Is this the same guy? Is this the same guy that yelled at me about coconut water?
Possibly.
Because he just hates port. Like, I feel like he's just the anti-Andy today.
Well, I'll tell you. So here's a couple wine recs for you. So I like a port call. That's cool. Summertime, a good aperitif to digestif, limoncello is pretty excellent.
Fuck yes.
Keep that in the fridge or freezer even. Some super cold limoncello is good. For a wine, Bonanza is a wine in general I would recommend serving with food just because it's a kind of a cab blend. It's a little more robusto, a little bit more full-bodied. In the summertime, I'm usually drinking Pinot and Rosé. If you want a good Rosé recommendation, track down Dragonette. That comes from Santa Barbara area, and it is absolutely awesome. And if you want a good Pinot recommendation, you can get a good under $20 bottle at most supermarkets called Juggernaut that has like a peregrine falcon artwork on the label. It's a Russian River Pinot. Anything from the Russian River is going to be outstanding, and the fact that you can get that in a bottle under $20 is kind of mind-blowing to me. So if you're looking for a good Pinot rec, try the Juggernaut. It's something you can drink. You don't have to eat food with it. If you're eating if you're having like a seafoody type of deal, it's good with that. If you're doing a clam bake, if you're doing any kind of fish on the grill, Or if you're just having like appetizers, Pinot is good for that as well. So check out the Juggernaut Russian River Pinot and the Dragonet Rosé as good summertime wine wrecks.
You know what? It makes me think, I don't even know if this place made it through the pandemic. I haven't been up there in a while, but, and again, it's not, I've been to places that just bring out a digestif cart, and I love that. Like that's a favorite. That's a favorite thing at restaurants. But there's a German place actually owned by some Polish people up in the Twin Cities, and they don't even like ask. It's not a. I don't even think they ask if you like want it or not. It's just at the end they just bring out apple schnapps. Like, oh, here's some apple schnapps.
Yeah, that's
and
part
you
of
have
the meal.
to, and you have to drink it. They also bring you snuff
Apple brandy.
if you want it.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh man, I haven't had snuff in a long time.
They have a board, the board with the clothespin, so that they release the clothespin and shoots it.
Yep.
Like I usually do that just because I have to. But week one Survivor play, we were just talking about. We got to get into the NFL here soonish.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, I have not looked. I'm still on Baseball Survivor. I don't even know who I have this week.
Oh, good job for you still being alive in Baseball Survivor. You know what? Also, now I feel angry that my Grand Salami over cashed. Both games clearly on track to go over.
After it got a little out of hand there in Seattle for a few.
Yeah. I haven't really thought hard about what week one Survivor is, but I don't mind attacking any of the garbage teams that are going to lose a lot of games this year. I'll just go against Drew Luck. Who are the Seahawks?
Oh my God, that might
bet against Drew Luck. That seems like a fair play. You could probably do that a lot this year and be just fine. Seahawks have the Denver Broncos week one against, so they go against Russell Wilson right out of the gate there in Seattle. Kind of interesting. There's probably a better one than that.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do that when we do the schedule. Like, let's come with some.
Oh yeah, sure.
These are like slam dunk. This is the only spot to use this team.
Great call.
This is like
let's
prep a few of those just to have and like talk about that.
Do you want to do the production meeting on air here? Do you want to do 2 NFL teams per preview again this year? Does that work for you?
I don't know. Like,
or should we break it up into one?
Oh my God, we'd have to start 2 weeks ago.
Well, what we would do is record them and then run them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
A podcast today.
Well, we record them both on Monday, but then chop it and then load the second one on Tuesday. What do you think? Is that crazy?
No, it's not. Like having its own podcast.
It might force us to be balanced also, so that we can't do an hour and a half on one team and then 20 minutes on the other or whatever.
Yeah. Schedule pod will probably lead off NFL. NFL traditionally starts after the 4th of July.
We wait till after, as is tradition, after the hot dog eating contest.
After the hot dogs. So then we usually do the schedule pod. We'll do the catching up on the NFL, talking about all the free agency, coaching, rookie stuff that you missed. That's pretty cool. Well, no, Dan, I think we do a Monday and Wednesday. We just release the audio podcast for. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
so
basically.
We do the
same 2
shows.
Record them together and then bang, bang. Yeah.
And then split it up into 2 audio tracks. So that would be some editing. Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well.
Oh boy. Well, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I think it was a good cadence, and then also we'll have to pre-record a couple because I think I'm going out of town at some
vacations
point in the
and
summer.
whatnot.
Yeah, not traveling far this year. Just gonna go up northern Minnesota.
We'll be sure to pick a division that then has. Well, let's do the AFC North and pre-record it, and then we'll find out midway through the preseason that Deshaun Watson's like suspended for the entire season or something.
I would like to walk back anything I said about him maybe having a tiny chance at not being suspended. Jesus,
that seems to be getting worse.
Christ.
Pretty.
This is like, and I don't want to make this comparison at all, but it reminds me of like oh my God, I'm just gonna say it. Pull the band-aid off. It reminds me of the days following the school shooting in Texas. It's like, every day the news would pop up and it's like, this was horrible. One of the most horrible things I'd heard about in years. And like the next day, the news got worse. like like this is happening and the cops and this, and we're finding out more. Like, how did this situation that was arguably some of the worst news I've read all year get worse? And it's the same kind of thing where it's like, all right, this Deshaun Watson news is real scummy. And then like accuser number 24 comes out today, and it's like, oh my God, what are we doing? Like, how is the due diligence for Cleveland if they were just like, I don't think he did it.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think, and this is again, I say I'm able to separate betting from like what's happening, and maybe there's some, shitty people, bad actors in the world, but like, that's a thing about running a really, really, really big business like the NFL, or, the Browns, I suppose, just an NFL team. Like, that's a tough conversation to have where you have to say, like, we think this guy probably did it, but we think it's 8 games max. Like, do you think that conversation happened where they're like, hey, he's probably guilty, but the lawyers are working on it. We'll probably have some plea deals.
Are you joking? It 1 million.
Like for sure that, that's what I'm saying. Like,
for sure.
They said like, hey, this guy is probably in a sexual assaulter, but this is a really big business and he's a really good quarterback. Like, I'd feel just shitty after that meeting, right? Like, wouldn't you feel just like a horrible person for a few days?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Maybe weeks. And either way, yeah. And to Dan's point, yeah, they signed Jacoby Brissett. It'll be interesting to see where Baker winds up. Somebody will play with him, but that relationship is severed.
Yeah, no,
which is also a freaky ass show.
Yeah, that thing is deteriorating fast. It's pretty awful, I gotta tell you. And it's tough to see how this has a happy ending for anyone, really.
Jesus Christ. You knew you were going to do that. So here's my thing. If I'm the Browns brass, and the half brought this up. You have other young players. I don't want to waste a year of this, but man, even with the easy schedule and Brissett and trying to bring in a new quarterback into the new system, like, I don't know if you punt on the year, but it would look good if you go to Goodell and be like, we're sick to our stomach, Roger. Like, this is horrid. I think you should spend him for the whole year. 16, 17 games, be done with it. You know what? We're on the same side. I don't know. I don't know if it makes a difference. They're just going to do what they're going to do.
I don't have a very nuanced opinion on it, what the NFL will do at all. I don't have any inside information. My guess is that the way that they structured the contract so that it doesn't really hurt him financially to be suspended for an entire year is probably annoys the NFL, and they want to do something that ultimately hurts him financially.
Are they allowed to fine him just for stuff off the field? I don't think so.
I don't know, man. But did you hear the settlement they offered in the NDA stuff that he was trying to go 6 figures for every accuser? That would total though is like 2.
I know it's a lot of money, but it's still kind of low for.
Yeah, surely, but it's still.
The amount of times that statement wasn't that long, and it used the word ejaculate several times.
Yeah.
That's not what you want to see.
Rusty Harden seems like he's having a senior moment out there covering this and some of the stuff he's saying.
Rusty Harden has said some shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Not great, honestly.
And I did miss my opportunity when you did the joke. I always forget I have the buttons.
That's good. No, that's good. Yeah, it's going to be pretty easy to cheer against the Browns this year, I will say. All right, man. Let's wrap it up here.
They lost the topic.
Go Celtics, please win Game 3. Enjoy grass season.
Oh, real quick too before we go. Vegas week 1.
Oh yeah, you want to do it?
Shall we?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
For sure.
I like that. A lot of people come out for that anyway. I think Dogma can be convinced. I already talked to him little bit about it. Some people live there, just CP and Duel, and I think people could be talked into coming out to Vegas for the first week. So
No, for sure.
it must be raining everywhere. Baseball's a mess. I might not have any bets at the end of the day here.
What else got canceled?
Well, your game. I didn't bet the Reds game. That's interrupted. KC is delayed right now in Toronto. Isn't that a dome? Oh, it's in KC. I'm looking at Flash Score. They have them upside down.
No, always. Every time.
Score. Every goddamn time. All right. Hey, we'll catch you guys Wednesday for a very exciting show. Crazy guest. I don't know how we got this guy.
Yeah. And of course, as Patrick mentioned, let's go Avs. Win the West. Take care of business.
Oh, that would be, that could be the bet I actually win tonight.
Yeah, let's go Avs.
Let's go Avs.
Yeah, so who should we get for Wednesday?
Yeah, I did not have a guest. I just wanted to see what you say there.
No, I'm sure we got